Welcome to another garage vlog in my garage. Today what I'd like to talk about is what's sitting on the table here. This is, I think, if you're a dual sport rider, as you can see it behind me, if you're a dual sport rider who does do some long distance riding, some longer day rides, I've personally worn this helmet on two about 130-mile days, ranging from interstate to back roads to 4-lane highways to gravel to dirt. Basically the whole gamut of what you would ride a dual sport on. And if you're wondering what that is behind me, that is a Honda 300 LS, the low seat model. It is not a KTM. So, on the helmet, this is a Bell MX-9 with MIPS Adventure. Basically, in a nutshell, to put it in layman's terms, the Bell MX-9 is a dual sport helmet with a visor. And you can get this lots of on-time retailers, Revzilla, Amazon, Rocky Mountain ATV, wherever you get all your online motorcycle gear and accessories and parts, it'll be available there. It ranges anywhere from, from 170 as low as to all the way up to say like 250, 260. You can get a one with a auto darkening or photochromic face shield. Actually, I do not have that, but I got just a colorway that matched my bike pretty closely. A little bit of black, gray, and a little bit of orange. And I did get, the standard one doesn't come with it, but I did get a pin lock ready visor, which does help with fogging up, when it starts to get colder, or if it's like raining and humid, it will tend to fog up if you don't have a pin lock. Pin lock, pretty much, as long as the pin lock is still within a couple years old, the inside part that goes in the visor keeps it from fogging up. It will basically just about completely eliminate from fogging up. But if you wear like, eyeglasses or something like that on your face, that won't prevent it. This is just for the visor, in case you didn't know that. But you can get a version of this that is more of a matte black, and it does come with that auto darkening shield. And it's a little bit, with that shield, it's a little bit, I'm trying to think of the word. I don't know, I lost track of thought. But with that auto darkening shield, it will go from auto to dark pretty well. I've had helmets in the past, and not this brand, that the darkening feature, it gets dark really fast, but it doesn't tend to get light very fast. You're doing it for a lot of woods riding and single track and getting in with the trees and the shadows. It will get almost a little bit dark on you if you're not careful. So that's why I didn't go this route. I usually, I'll either wear sunglasses or goggles with this particular helmet. But that's, the way I like to make sure the debris in front of me or on the road is just better for me, where I can, not be quite as dark. But the auto dark does do pretty well. It just doesn't get super dark. But like I said, in the shadows and stuff like that, it will get a little dark on you. Now, if you're somewhere where there's no trees, like out in the desert or whatever in the Midwest, where it's a part with not a lot of trees, that won't matter. But the shades and the shadows is where the photochromic lens, I think, suffers a little bit. I think some of them get just a little bit too dark. It depends on the manufacturer, but that's my recommendation. But for this helmet at that cheap of a price point, even at like 300 or a little over 300 with the auto darkening shield, that one is basically an all black, just about all black colorway. The only negatives about this helmet, other than the price, is you cannot shut off. You can shut off the front chin vent with that switch up and down, but you can't shut off, your brow or forehead area vent. So what that does is this makes this helmet, if you live in a climate with actual true four seasons like I do. I'm in East Tennessee, around Bristol area. What it will do, excuse me, what it will do is it will make it to where if you ride a dual sport with this helmet, when it gets colder, say like 45 degrees Fahrenheit and colder, it will make it to where it's kind of cold. So you're going to have to wear a neck gaiter or wind buff or whatever you call it, balaclava, where it covers at least your neck and, part of this area, bottom part of your face. And you could probably get by with it like that, but let's be honest, most people aren't running dual sport when it gets that cold. So that kind of doesn't matter. I, however, just about will ride year round unless there's salt on the road or if it's like 35 and the temperature is dropping, because then it's a potential before the salt trucks hit the road, there could be ice or some black ice or freezing rain or whatever on the road, and I'm not risking that riding for that. But this is a great helmet for the price point. It's very comfortable on long days. I feel like because it's more of a dual sport helmet, the cheek pads doesn't come, they don't come quite like here, like some helmets, they're more further back. And because of not only that and the more mouth area you have here, when things are a little technical, when the trail gets a little rough, you're not huffing and puffing. That's the reason dual sport helmets are kind of popular versus adventure helmets. Adventure helmet, that part's closer where it's a better road helmet, but then it makes it harder to breathe because there's not that much surface area for you to breathe into, so to speak. But this helmet is pretty quiet on the road. I have a Cardo. I don't know if you can see it. I'm sure you can. I have a Cardo installed on mine, and I can still hear music just fine at a higher volume. Even though the helmet's a little bit noisy, I'm running a dual sport with not much wind protection, so that doesn't really help. But it still works well enough. It's quiet enough that you can hear, not only if you're on communication with someone like I usually am with a group, you can still hear them, you can still hear music, you can still hear GPS. Whether you're using a GPS or from like your phone, you can hear all that just fine. Some of the people in your group may complain a little bit when you get it, it's say 45 and up, they may complain a little bit that your mic is peaking a little bit too much because this helmet has no chin curtain at the bottom. It's somewhat noisy, but not terrible, for them when it comes to that, but I can't hear their end, so I guess their only thing they can do is turn their Cardo down a little bit so their speakers aren't picking up as much of your wind noise, or you could change it in the settings. There's a couple different settings in the Cardo app to change that. But I can't really knock the helmet other than it being, basically a 3-season helmet. Wintertime, it's gonna suck. That's just, I'm being honest. I've had a couple different brands of adventure style helmets, and I had a Climb Krios Pro, not comfortable really to me, hardly at all. Any more than 45 minutes, it was terrible. Around the forehead area, it wasn't fun. It was loud. The visor kind of sucked. There was no lockdown. This is a better visor than the Climb one, really, except for it's kind of hard to move up. It's just not very free. But plus this helmet like this, if you're new or budget minded to dual sport riding, say you're coming from street riding like I am, like you can probably barely tell in the camera. That way you can see the front wheel of another bike. I can see it in the monitor just barely. That's my Yamaha FJR 1300. That's why there's a giant Yamaha beside me. But I figured for this video, it'd be better to have the dual sport, which this is about, in the background instead of the FJR, because people will be like, why is he reviewing this when he doesn't have one? But I've had this helmet now for over a year. I will say this helmet, it does work with goggles on. Give me one quick second, I'll show you. These are, and I've used these, and people, this is like personal preference, like seats, but these are from 100% where I bought them from Recommended, and they're kind of a goldish color with a mirror tint, so they're not super dark. And I think these work really well in like the trees and the shadows, like I was talking about earlier. You know, you just adjust it. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'll get this on here so I can show you. They will work on there. And you can actually, with this helmet and, you know, a pretty big goggle like this, you can take the helmet, just leave the goggles on the helmet, take the helmet on and off. No fuss, no muss. Yeah, and the visor will close completely. It will leave a little bit of a gap down here, but for the most part, in the front where you're gonna hear it, it will leave a little bit of gap on the sides, but it still shuts just fine. The visor moves up and down just fine. It'll just pinch the strap a little, which won't hurt the strap at all. But you know, this helmet is really good for the money. Plus, this helmet, like I said, if you're budget minded, and this is, even if you get one with auto darkness shield and it's $300, if you have a nasty spill off-roading and dual sports, which it will happen eventually, ask me how I know. If you smash your head up against a rock or you scratch your helmet a lot, you know, you can buy 2 of these for what a Climb or TourTech helmet costs at $700 or $800. You can buy 2 of these and still come out cheaper. So hopefully this isn't too long-winded a review, but I thought it was good to explain all what I use the helmet for. Like I said, the only thing that it suffers for is it's going to be cold in the wintertime. But most people aren't going to ride it when it's super cold in the wintertime. So you can put a balaclava on it, like I said, and probably still be okay. But a lot of people don't ride when it's super cold. So on that, guys, thanks for watching. Ride safe. If you have any questions, comments, let me down in the comment below. Don't forget to leave a like and share this video. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the